Hello, I'm Chris Athanas. I'm a KMP developer. Tech support's coming out Tuesday to say that they said they're going to close it up finally. We'll see if that portal ever gets closed. I don't know. I'm kind of giving up hope. Today I'm reacting to Thriving Technologist. This is Jamie Edwards' channel, and I've been following him since he had like 2K subs. He's been doing YouTube videos for quite a long time, and he's very public and open about his journey, what he's gone through, and what he's seen. And it's great listening to him compare notes to what the crazy stuff that I've been seen inside the industry, coming up from all these, from the tutorials and personal products and senior lead roles and getting in these tunnels of fake agile doom and tar pits, all this stuff here, which I'm going to compare and contrast adventure-driven development with what he's talking about here. Okay, let's let Jamie cook.
If you're in a place in your career where you're like, man, I wish I could get more out of it than I am today, just keep in mind, growing complacent, getting lazy, being comfortable, pushing off, all the responsibilities of the business on other people. That's why you get paid twice, a month, at least if you're on salary typically, and that's why your earning potential is limited.
That's a nice way of putting it.
What if the real risk isn't leaving your corporate job, but staying in it? If you're comfortable in your tech job today, layoffs aren't the only risk that you face, unfortunately. 7 years ago, my life was turned upside down when I finally realized how trapped I had become. I actually developed chronic insomnia and anxiety, and eventually it emptied my bank account, all because I refused to accept that I had outgrown working for corporations.
So he was down here in these tunnels of fake agile doom, death marches, a couple tar pits of seemingly good ideas, and a dungeon grind, Dear Burn Down Clark. So he's been up in these right here, and when he did this YouTube channel, he skipped up into here. He found a cave entrance that he could help people with, and his dragon is helping people get through and understand this, and make their time in the tunnels of fake agile doom as productive as possible, and with the eye of like either getting into a civil horde dev agency of some sort where they're more in control, or maybe he's thinking of trying some other mountain someplace else that may be more in line.
In this episode, I'd like to help you get a sober view of what staying in corporate jobs actually can cost you. I hope this gives you the courage to explore more empowering ways of working if you've gotten to that point that you need to escape the corporate tech grind. So first, let's talk about the lie of corporate stability, how it's so easy to get sucked into it, and how one day you may wake up finding that your options are actually less the longer that you try to climb the ladder. The first thing that's really important for us to talk about today is that there are some cognitive biases at play. There's some ways that we think about corporate work that tend to bias us towards staying there that actually don't do us a service. They actually put us in danger. The first one of these is the status quo bias. You've heard of this before, saying, about staying in the status quo or maintaining the status quo. And really that bias is just our bias towards what's familiar.
Right. So most people, if we're doing a bell curve distribution, most people are going to be, just tell me what to do. I have other things that I'd like to get done in my life. I'm doing this for a job. It seems to pay well. Just give me the checklist and tell me what to do. I want to go do this other stuff. I don't really want to be here. I'm just doing it because I can't find something else that pays as good as this that's I can handle. So just give me this is the big hump, right? And I'm talking about the people that are kind of done with that, and they, instead of skipping out, they want to still do some tech stuff or not. It's these ideas still apply. Seeing the cave opening, knowing you have to deal with a dragon, a monster that's going to be coming at you from all different angles. You don't know which ones, where, but at least you're free and you're on your own path. You're not down here in this death march stuff.
If we've done nothing over our career but worked corporate job after corporate job after corporate job, that environment of working corporate jobs becomes what we're used to, what we're familiar with. And so we want to maintain that status quo. This becomes a bias that traps us. I've talked about in earlier episodes on the channel how I worked for a consulting agency for a decade in the latter half of my career. And about halfway into my time there, about 4 to 5 years in, I already knew it was probably better if I left the company. There were a variety of changes and circumstances I've talked about in some of my stories on the stories playlist of the channel. Yeah. But I decided to just stay there because I'd grown complacent, I'd grown comfortable, and it was just with what I was familiar with. So if
right, and he was lacking courage for a variety of reasons, maybe just not understanding that what he was involved in was a death march, was a fake agile, was a shrinking market, it was down here in this stuff, right? He didn't know that there was another vista until he had spent a lot of time and pain dealing with this stuff. Now he's sharing his experiences, and he's up the mountain. He's going after us, trying to, he's doing well. He's doing well. Fine for all the stuff he's been through. He definitely deserves it. Here we go.
If you're in a situation where familiarity is the main thing holding you back, just remember that is a bias. It's the status quo bias. Next, there's the normalcy bias. This is really a bias we have that we think there aren't really any negative consequences coming. We think the likelihood of something going wrong is lower than
like the turkey before Thanksgiving. No, they've been feeding us. It's been great. Why would they do that? They've been nice the whole time. There's no Thanksgiving coming. What are you talking about?
it really is. We want to maintain the illusion that things are normal. And this bit me hard when that same consulting agency I just talked about, I was there for about 7 years, and suddenly they were bought out by a Chinese company. And I and many other consultants that had invested at that point 7 years for me, some of the other employees, like 10, 15 years of their life, climbing that ladder with promises and hopes from the CEO.
Right. Yeah, you were doing the CEO's climb, and he was dealing with a dragon here. He got a Chinese dragon to buy off there. But you were down here in the Silver Horde, man. I get it. If you fight a lot of monsters, that's Silver Horde you can do very well. But you're not following someone else's dream, right? You're following the CEO's dream, who don't care about your years of experience and how much time you've done in these pits of these tunnels of fake agile doom and the dungeon grind. They don't give a crap. That's not their focus. They found someone to do that stuff for them. And that worked up until about now.
There and helping grow the company meant. And the moment that company was sold, he left the company and everybody was just kind of left to fend for themselves. And a lot of people's hopes were really ultimately dashed. So
yeah, because you didn't understand you were attacking a Silver Horde, man. You didn't know. I know this map is I came up with this thing on my own. This is just how I see it, and we talk about it. I don't have this time to mull around and see. Okay, I get it now. There are levels to the game, and a lot of people, we just don't talk about it. We don't know about it. Maybe people, the C and B students who run these companies can't explain it, don't want to explain it, don't think you're worthy of explaining it. And if they did explain it, now they've got a competition. So they've had some interest. So the incentives. The word is incentives. I was trying to find the right word. Incentives. What incentive do they tell you? Oh yeah, by the way, as soon as I find a Chinese company where I can sell all this crap, and they think that you're gonna come along, but you ain't. They just want the customers. Oh yeah, it's over, and I'm gone. Bye. I never promised any of that stuff, and even if I did, that's what it took to get it sold, right? It's so sleazy, but that's when you're going up and you're inside of a dev agency. That's because the lack of courage to go after this freaking master. It's scary. I get it. That's why only like 2 or 3% are going to be able to do it. And only 2 or 3% are looking for the cave entrance anyway. They don't know how to even find this thing. They're not even looking. They're like, I'm just going to keep my head down and fight these little bugs that come into the dev agency. I'm gonna solve somebody else's dragon problem, and you wonder why. You mean by solving someone else's dragon problem, they might actually leave and go do something else after they get the big prize? Really? No, they wouldn't want to keep doing the grind down here with us, right? You gotta look about the incentives, man. Some people get really jazzed up and doing the CEOs. They jazzes them up trying to go drag the monster. But we're technology people like me and this guy. How we saw it before we saw the epic quest, before we understood the epic quest. Yes, fighting monsters seems like a real sweet deal.
Continue to stay in corporate jobs because it's normal. It's familiar. And basically, you don't think anything's going to go wrong. Remember, that's a bias that you have. There's really no guarantee that unforeseen events can't unfold at some point that force you to have to make significant changes when you're not really ready.
Right. So even if you're down here in this dev agency and you've offloaded the risk to someone else, it's still there. That's the thing, man. This dragon is still up there. The risks that are involved with fighting these monsters don't go away just because you've offloaded it to someone else in sales to take care of it for you. No. You're still going up the mountain to fight somebody's dragon, right? Even though you think you're just fighting little bugs, eventually when your skills are no longer necessary, boop, boop, bye. So if you're not involved with the epic part of the epic adventure, which means that it's very difficult to have this happen, right? It's like 1 or 2 people, maybe three tops. So those people at the top see it, and they have a goal in mind, and they have something they're trying to do. And it's not continuing to fight monsters down here. That's not what they want to do. That's not most people's goals. They want something, they want to do something else. They want to go do yoga like I did after I sold my company. I was like, I'm out of here. People are like, what do you mean? I'm not you. Don't you want to do more slogging down for somebody else? Like, no, I don't. I'm going to finish out my contract and I'm out of here. I sold the company. I did the thing you said and I'm done. And I went and did yoga and played around and did the festivals and all this crazy other stuff. Made a movie or 2 or 3. Got involved with like libertarian politics. I was like, when it was still actually pretty normal. And so I went and experienced life that wasn't down in a tight, no. How many tickets do you do today? No. How many points is that? No. I was like, ugh. I was like, okay, I never did any of that. I did that stuff recently, but when I was doing my company, we didn't do any of that stuff. It's like, it was just a to-do list. I got a task. I'm stuck on this one. Maybe we could do this one. We can do this one. We just kind of went forward and figured it out. It was not rocket science. It was mostly just a lot of work. And people are like, "What did you? No, why don't you work the hard?" Because it's like I've got the epic quest, man. You guys took it over. My problem is, I wanted some time to go do some other stuff, read, investigate stuff that's not computer related. Yeah, people, believe it or not, people want to do that.
Right. So next, let's talk about what are the hidden risks of staying at corporate jobs. There's some risks that I don't think we think about. Maybe we're aware of them, but it's very uncomfortable for us to confront this. The first one is just skills becoming obsolete. The tech industry changes so fast. It doesn't matter if you're a programmer, you're in product management, you're a manager. The processes, the practices, the technologies that we work with are not stagnant, right? And if you stagnate, you just stay in one position for too long or one set of skills for too long, you're always putting yourself at danger that at some point marketing yourself or finding future employment is only going to be that much harder. And unfortunately, corporations don't really help us this much with that. And
Why would they? They can just let you guys figure it out. That's how it's been so far. Somehow they figure it out. Like somehow people like me and you figure it out, right? They just need to go find the money, which was free for the last 15 years or so with the ZERP. There was a big period when he was mostly employed, was in the ZERP, right? It was this very unusual environment where they just go get free money and they go find you guys like me and him. And those guys, if they could just figure out that we got the money for almost free, they would hire their own people and do maybe compete against us. So make sure we don't. Fundraising so hard. It's just really difficult. There's zero interest rate environment. It's just the most difficult thing ever. Oh my God, how are we going to make it? Really? Okay.
Risk is economic uncertainty. None of us really know what the future holds in terms of the economy. And if a company gets to a place where they need to lay off a lot of people because the product that they have isn't as profitable or just the business is struggling, you probably know companies don't really reward loyalty. This idea that if I'm loyal...
Why would they when there's 1,000 other people ready to jump in to do the exact same box ticking, Jira ticket, fake agile death march because they've been told how to do it.
To my company, then when things get difficult, they won't lay me off. If you don't get laid off due to a round of layoffs, it's very rare that it's because of the loyalty that you put in. It's mostly just because you may have an opportunity to be more valuable to them. Basically, something about how you work is
right. In other words, they can't get the shit done without you. So it's way easier there. So people are like, why are you making this code so difficult to understand? Oh, it's called job security. You ever heard of it? No, we've seen the layoffs and people get into this mode, man. And that's why a lot of these companies are actually open targets for small developers who want to get in and attack a cave entrance because these companies are so over bloated and right staffing, but the staff that's left over are totally shell-shocked and are not going to be able to go do more of these epic quests when they know they're just... What's in it for them? There's no long-term thing. So it's like they're going to do the minimum they need to get done. And that's just like an opening for people that want to do this epic quest stuff. There's your opening right there. Instead of having 15 engineers, you have 2 or 3 going after the same thing. But you got to be smart. You have to do your time down here and all this bullshit to know what you can cut out and what's absolutely necessary to make it work. Right?
Is important to them, and that's just happenstance. So again, a hidden risk to all this is just that as the economy changes, as your company changes, as the products they're building change, as the desirability of those in the market changes, you don't really have any control when you work for a corporation over how to navigate your career in a way that's safer by working for a corporation. It's actually more out of your control. Yeah. And finally, another hidden risk is the opportunity costs. If you decide to work for a corporation,
this is the most expensive one here, the opportunity cost, because by fighting all these monsters and letting these people climb up the hill on your back without the proper compensation, like it should be like you should be having some kind of even the equity splits is ridiculous. The fact that you're fighting all these monsters and they have no capability other than the gift of gab and ability to do what B students and C students do best, which is talk their way through stuff. Whereas we have to prove it on the machine, right? We can't just bullshit the machine. That's the thing, is like find people like us that will take the bullshit of those people, realize that they're fighting monsters to get to somebody else's golden dragon, right? I hope I'm making my point clear.
Committing yourself to one company and its goals, and any other opportunities that you could pursue when you're an employee, it's much harder to pursue them because you're already dedicated to a company. You really can lose out on potential by doing this. When I worked at that consulting agency for many years, I was continuing to learn more and more technical skills, and I did learn a lot about consulting, which was really valuable to me. I've talked about that in many episodes on the show. But when I finally decided to work for myself, and I was kind of forced into a situation where I had to learn some totally new skills, I started to learn how to market myself, how to sell, how to do digital marketing and content marketing. I had to learn how to set up my own website, my email marketing, all the domain related stuff, lots of security related things, hosting. I had to create legal contracts for people that get coaching through me. I had to incorporate. I suddenly had to deal with taxes and all the things around self-employment. So when you work for a company, rather, you're losing the opportunity to grow in ways that you would if you stay working for corporations, because they kind of insulate you from business skills that could actually help you be more in control.
Why would they do that? Why would they make sure that you don't know that super easy crap that takes maybe a month tops to learn all the stuff you need to know? Why do you think they would keep that from us? No, not putting it together. Okay, we'll keep going.
Control of your future. And then there's the financial limitations. When you work for a company, usually the job title that you hold is fairly well known out in the market, right? They can go out, look at what other people are paying comparable amounts for what you're doing.
Yeah, they definitely got the cog in the machine mentality. You better believe you better believe they do. And the way this coding stuff has been presented the last 15 years or so, 10 years or so, has been so terrible, completely antithetical to adventure-driven development, completely antithetical to it. The only one that comes close is maybe Alan Kay, and people forgot about him a long time ago, and he became irrelevant. But he's the only one that's kind of like talking like, hey, there's another way of doing this. Like, no, we're going to stick it with 1982 style stuff. C++ was dominant, then it's dominant now. It's like, it's still all that same. And if you don't understand what I'm talking about, you can go to do my How to Program from the Ground Up course, and I tell you, walk through it completely from the bottom up. Why are we still building this stuff this way? Because that's the way everybody out on this market, that's a senior level lead role, can figure out how to do it. They'll do it that way, and it'll be the exact same crap, doing the exact same way, and having the exact same problems. And they're like, why can't we find good engineers? C students and B students have no idea how the development stuff works. They just got sold agile Scrum training, and they think that's the way to do it. Oh, okay.
Other companies. And so there's a little bit of a cap, actually a significant cap, depending on what you want to step out and do.
Yeah, it's a major cap. How do you think he's selling the company for $20 million instead of spending $180,000 a year on you? What? Come on. Do the math. Of course, that's how it works. I know it's really difficult for our middle class, egalitarian minded, everyone's the same, everyone's equal mindset. It's not. That's just not how it is. There's certain people that get this environment of America, of business, is winner take all. So you have to have that attitude. And I'm sorry if there's first place, second place, third place. And if you're not first and second, you're going to be third place. And as a developer, a lot of times you're in third place. And you think that because you get a ping pong table and a video game breaks and a snack room, that you think you're really on it. Okay.
In corporations, there's only so much money you can make. And this is why you see so many people scrambling to work for the FANG companies, the top income or close to top that a lot of those very few companies offer, because they're looking to maximize their earning potential.
Yeah, because they don't have the fucking courage and creativity to go attack the thing. The big monster. So yes, of course they're going to go to Silver Horde or Lead Mine or Dungeon Grind. Those are way more accessible. This is a logarithmic levels of risk and creativity that are needed. Like the risk tolerance is the word. Like how much bullshit can you put up with, and how much can you do yourself? How much kind of detail work that it's not coding it's not typing a keyboard. How much can you deal with that's not that? Can you? It's not that bad. It's really not. For A students who are doing development work like this, it's not that bad. It just seems really scary. Oh my God, it's so scary. It's because C and B students, that's all they have. So they got to make it think like it's the most horrific thing ever. It's so complicated. Oh my God, you'll never figure it out. Oh.
Fortunately, there's not enough FANG jobs to go around. And so, if you're in a position
yes, there is. Oh, yes, there is. There's plenty of Fang jobs. If you want to do the Lava Lake of direct competition dungeon grind, that was plenty if you want to get in there. But most people, like, once they have been in that dungeon grind for a while, they don't want to do it no more. So they're going to come out here and do something else. So there's plenty of them open for all the Silver Horde dev agency guys and the guys going up to the cave ventures. Don't you want to go down and do it? You don't want to go back and do a dungeon grind for Google? You don't want to go to Facebook tunnels of fake Agile Doom that haven't changed their product in 10 years, 5 years? Really? That's what you want to go do? You want to go work for Fang? You're sure not to be laid off then, right?
Or you're not making as much money as you'd like, just remember, choosing to work for corporations in the first place limits your earning potential beyond what you could probably reach if you decided to just kind of step out, take a chance, and try to do something yourself. So next, let's talk.
Well, yes, but you can also fail really hard, right? You can also fall down and make it's horrible. When you try to climb the wall and when one of these guys up here pours oil on you, and you've never had an oil attack before, oh yeah, it sucks. It sucks. But that's the reason why. This is the big prize. The big prize, the golden prize, is because there's so much bullshit you have to deal with getting up there. Right? Yeah.
Talk about how self-employment can actually reduce risk. I don't think we think about this enough. I didn't think about this enough until I started working for myself.
Who cares? Do more of this stuff here. But he's doing it
First, you can diversify your income streams. When you work for a corporation, you get one paycheck or one bill rate. And if something goes wrong with that project, you're out of luck. You know, if you get laid off, you're out on the open market, you're losing money, you need to scramble to find new work, right? If you work for yourself, you know, like I as a career coach now, I make the majority of my money from coaching, but I also make some from Patreon. I make a little bit from YouTube memberships. I have a course called Dev Pathfinder that I offer. That also provides me some income. Now, I'd like to diversify even more, but it's really nice to be in a place where, like, if I don't get as many coaching clients one month, I've got some other income sources that can kind of buffer that and insulate me from that. So just remember.
Yeah, but that is something, if you're going to be in the corporate thing, you should not be taking it easy. You should be doing this kind of stuff, trying to build this stuff parallel on the side. That was the only way I was able to escape this stuff, is I started building a bunch of parallel stuff on the side. So I intentionally toned down the amount I was working at these other companies after I got productive at what they were trying to do. And I started using that extra and building this other stuff. And starting to find the cave entrance. That's by building the other stuff and running and doing all this grimy work that has to happen anyway, and you're just learning it as you're doing it. That's really the key. Someone can't just give you the 25 steps. Okay, you have to go figure it out on your own. So that's a big gate, right? That's one of this big hump right here. It's like, I have to learn all this business stuff on my own. Yeah, you do. Oh, as if YouTube doesn't exist. As if the internet doesn't exist. And you just do the minimal, not the maximum. You do the minimum thing you need to get to the next thing. You don't do all the stuff all at once up front. You just do it and then you refine it. Do it again, refine it. Do it again, refine it. Do it again, refine it. That is these little things. Do it. Oh, it didn't work. Oh, that one worked. Oh, it didn't work. Oh, it worked a little bit. Oh, okay. Oh, wait. Oh, this. Wait. Oh, holy crap! There's a cage vengeance here. Right. That's the whole thing. Get a little pause here. I guess I needed to do a memory collection or something. Okay, let's keep going.
When you choose to work for a corporation, you're giving up the ability to diversify your income streams. Also, you're losing the ability to control setting rates and what you want to charge and what you want to make. When you work.
Well. Okay, so he's doing it so you could quit your job and you start this other thing. No, you have to do it in parallel. You have to do it in parallel. Do not, you're going to have, and it's going to be shitty. It's going to be crappy. It's going to suck. But if you're paying attention and you do have like, okay, I'm looking for a cave entrance, man. I'm looking for a cave entrance. You're not going to get there by doing the same old dev slog through the technology stuff. You're going to have to break out and actually try and find and look and meet customer demand somewhere. And a lot of times in the beginning, it's like, I don't even know how to do that. So, well, you got to try. You got to try something. Maybe you can start talking about some things you've done. Maybe you can start a YouTube channel. Get used to talking to people. I don't know. There's a bunch of different ways you go, right? But it's like, what do you like? How do you want to do it? It's a lot of it involves with taste, culture, like just your sense of how things should be, ethics, sense of how things should be put together. Morals, like how you deal with people, how you structure your information. What problem are you trying to solve for people? Why? The why is really big. So that's what's important. Like in the beginning, you might want to just copy somebody else's stuff. Just do the rote, right? But then if you start asking and looking and showing people and getting in front of people, even if it doesn't cost them anything, it's better to charge them for it. But and maybe that's later on the line. Maybe you just need to get the idea of like, how do I make a website? How do I put all this stuff? It has to be done.
Work for yourself. You can be as creative as you want about pricing. I've changed my coaching pricing 5 times since I started offering coaching.
Good.
If I worked for a company, having to negotiate my salary 5 times and hope that they're going to give me what I'm worth, obviously, I have to still find that the market is willing to pay what I'm charging for my coaching, and that there's an appropriate number of people out there that find.
Right. I'll just raise your prices, really. That's what you always raise prices until people complain and still pay. But when they complain and don't pay, that's when you have to back off.
Enough value they're willing to pay for it. But, I make a lot more per hour as a coach now. Now, again, I work less hours, so that's part of the...
Deserve. He's been down in all this stuff. Now he's up here. He found the cave entrance with the coaching stuff, and he's very skilled at that. And now he's going in here, and he's doing very well. I mean, he's doing 173K subs. He's doing all right. for a long time there, he wasn't. He was down here trying to figure out, like, what? He's like, what is happening here? I don't even understand. He's like, I got to quit for a while. This is too messed up. And then he just kept going. A big, large part of, here it is. The journey is long and full of terror, yet I inch forward. Slow is smooth, smooth is fast. So he's going through every little piece and learning every part of the segment. And when he can't take it, he takes a little rest and goes back inside his shell and takes a little break. And wait for the sun, maybe the sun to come out so he can keep going, right? He's got death below him and life above him and lightning and rainstorms. He's like, kind of like, God damn, this sucks. But yet I inch forward.
The reason, but I'm in control. I can choose to change the price of my coaching. I can choose to change the price of my Patreon memberships, anything else that I offer, where when you're working for a company, you have little to hardly any control over what they pay you. Whatever you initially negotiate is pretty much where you start out. And from there, it's kind of luck of the draw if they're going to promote you or not. Now, you can do great work, and I hope you do, but you're not ultimately in control of that.
No, and a lot of it's personalities, a lot of it's favoritism, a lot of it's all this other stuff that has nothing to do with your skill set. Now, when you're producing products and services for your customers, they'll tell you by whether they buy it or not, whether you're doing a good job or not, right? And then once you hit it, once you understand the formula and, however you do it, you can by hook or by crook. If you want to be immoral about it, that's one way to go. And that ends up in a certain place. But if you want to be super fair and moral and treat your customers with ethics, it's going to be a little slower, right? But if they're solid because you're not fooling them. You're not lying. You're not cheating them. There's been a lot of lying and cheating going on in the software business. A lot of lying, a lot of cheating, a lot of abusive practices that can end by doing adventure-driven development, by doing it differently and looking for that dragon that in the cave opening that has the set of parameters that you want to dedicate your life force to. Yeah, that stuff's all going to break apart. Like the days of these monolithic, huge companies is definitely under attack. The way the technology that they're built, how they're structured, their management, the people involved, their attitudes, it's all up for grabs. They showed the destination, but they're not. It's kind of like how the Blitzkrieg happened. Like, yeah, you can take it, but can you hold it? It's a different thing to blow everything up to pieces, and then say, oh look, I'm here now. Then okay, now you build a nice place for people to live. No. Never heard of it? Okay.
The other way that working for yourself can really reduce risk is that it forces you to have a growth and adaptability mindset. Yeah. This is something that's been so valuable to me. Oh my gosh. Like when I worked at corporations, I was so afraid of risk. Everything I did was I wanted to avoid risk with my company, risk with my project, risk with myself. And hey, none of us want to take just stupid, uncalculated risks, but they really prevented me from growing. They prevented me from getting to do things that maybe would, really increase my value, really increase my, just fun in my career and ability to do things. And when you work for yourself,
yeah.
You can't.
Not taking risks all the time is super not fun. But the people in the middle who have said, hey, all you got to do is manage a process that's already been done by doing step A, B, C, D, and E, G. Now, the people at the top that have gone to these big Ivy Leagues, fancy schools, they haven't gone through the slog. They haven't gone down inside this bullshit. They haven't had to deal with any of this crap. They were like, oh, I'm just going to be up here. I get the money. I get the money. And then they hire me and Jamie to go deal with all the crap that they've been sold. That's how things are done. And yes, it's been done that way so far. And has been a way to get things done, but that's not how these things were created in the first place, right? All these things were actually created with ADD. They were created with adventure-driven development. They were created by someone accepting, make it fun to get it done. They were accepting that there would be dragons, and risk is the uncertainty we fully accept. Yeah, because it was fun. It wasn't really uncertainty. It was like, okay, if we fail, I'll have to go work for a tech company. So another company that's like still doing this old stuff. I'll go, the worst I got to do is go back to do the things I already did before. Okay, maybe you have to for a little while, but don't give up on your epic quest. If you want to have a life that means something to you, like you look back on and go, I went for it. Even if I didn't get it, I still went for it. And then when you're looking back, regret is the worst. The worst. Regretting that you didn't try because you were scared. Oh, I might fail. Oh, no, somebody might drop things. Well, if you're not going to go up take the castle, you're not going to get what's inside the castle, right? You're not going to be able to take over this land. So you're going to have to be prepared that someone might dump some oil on you. Oh, it's like, okay, well, just try again, put an oil tarp over you and try again. What the hell?
Can't really be successful if you don't grow. So having a learning mindset, you've heard of this, I'm sure, before. If you work for yourself, you're going to be constantly presented with things that you've probably never done before. And, it pushes you out of that sort of false sense of security when you work for a corporation where you're like, well, marketing deals with that. And so,
yeah, these are worthy tasks, right? When you're taking on the quest to go up to see the dragon, you're taking on worthy tasks. And there are no tasks that are unworthy when you have to do them to make whatever it is that you're doing happen. They're all worthy. And he's saying that, let marketing going. I'm just doing the software, but you're missing out on all this stuff. It's like the stuff they're trying to hide. A lot of it's hidden from us, right? We're supposed to not see it because if we did see it, we could go do our own thing. It's like not that big of a barrier, but the barrier is our minds, right? Thinking that it's a siloed thing. It's another thing. It's all integrated. How the customer hears about your product, how your customer first interfaces with your product. That's all user experience, right? From the moment they hear the word about your company, your name, or the idea of the thing, the whole thing, all the way through. That's all development. That's all creativity. It's all up for grabs. Here we go. Let's keep going.
Sales will deal with that, and a manager will deal with that. Ultimately, you have to deal with it. Now, the downside of that is that if anything goes wrong, it's your fault. The upside of that is if anything goes right, you are empowered to do it. So, if you're in a place in your career where you're like, man, I wish I could get more out of it than I am today, just keep in mind, growing complacent, getting lazy, being comfortable, pushing off, all the responsibilities of the business on other people. That's why you get paid twice, a month, at least if you're on salary typically, and that's why your earning potential is limited. But if you're willing to learn, push yourself to accept that like anything that comes your way, you're capable of learning it, suddenly it can open up a lot of new opportunities for growth for you that you might find, like I did, that I actually enjoy marketing and sales. Now, I'm not an expert at it. I'm still learning.
Fun.
But I always thought I hated those two things my entire career, for 20 years of my career until I started doing this. And as I've been forced through self-employment to learn it, I found it's actually fascinating. And I actually enjoy it. When we talk about adaptability, the other thing is, when you work for yourself, you have to learn to adapt and be responsive. When you're on a project, sure, your manager might change the requirements of the project or the direction of the company might change and you have to adapt. But when I've, started working for myself as a career coach, I might find that people out in the tech industry, the thing that's most pressing for them to get help with suddenly changes. And now I can pivot. I can offer a new product. I can offer a new coaching package. I can begin to help them with that. And I don't have to sell a manager or a tech lead or my company on giving me the opportunity to do it. It's really just up to me to commit to it and move in that direction and offer it. So if you want to have more adaptability in your career and you want to be able to pursue things that you're excited about and not be sort of put in a box by a corporate employer, that's one of the biggest things you got to consider if you decide that you're just going to stay comfortable and complacent in a corporate tech job. And hey, if you're at that place in your career where you're like, man, I've had job after job after job, and I'm sick of this one I'm at right now, so I guess I'm just going to go get another job. And every move that you look at in the future of your career just kind of feels like the same thing. I want to let you know, if you didn't know already, there is a Patreon and a YouTube membership for this channel. It's very cheap to get in there, but there are a lot of people in this Discord that you get access to if you join. And, if you want to have a group of people who are kind of pushing themselves to try to grow in their career, whether they're still doing it, some of them have not taken the leap to work for themselves and they're just trying to grow within consulting or typical employment. But you got people who are starting YouTube channels, starting their own thing. If that's something that's interesting to you, you like to have a group of other people who are also doing that, not just every commenter who's available on the YouTube channel, but these are people who really are into the channel and they're also into supporting each other. Check out Patreon, check out the YouTube memberships. There's a link in the description. And if you're actually at the point where you're like, I've decided I really do want to work for myself.
I don't know. A lot of this stuff is like, a lot of the things I'm bringing up here, this is new, right? Most people have no idea that the stuff like this, even style of doing things even exists. They hear the stories and the edges and stuff, but they don't know that there's a process behind it. There's actually, and it's not a tick your box agile scrum process. It's a attitude. It's an attitude. It's an attitude of, I'm willing to do the heroic pursuit because it's worthy. Because these tasks are worthy, and my epic goal is appropriate for me. Like I can live the rest. I can look back on this. I can look back on this experience, even if it's a short period, and know at least I tried. Right? That's the whole thing. It's like I didn't. I saw the cave opening. I went searching for it. Luckily I found a cave opening. It's because it's luck. A lot of stuff is luck. Sorry, a lot of this is just timing and luck. But the thing is, you can increase your timing and increase your luck by being engaged with the problem and the space and the people and all the things that go along with it, and not trying to pigeon your whole like I'm only doing software development.
But I don't know where to start. I don't know how to get started. I also offer a coaching package called Solopreneur Jumpstart. It's meant to jumpstart your ability to work for yourself as a solo, high-paid consultant. If that's something you're considering, you can also get a link to my coaching page in the description. So finally, let's talk about how can you overcome the fear of self-employment. I see a lot of people who would be awesome if they work for themselves. They just reach so many amazing new goals, they grow, but they fear it too much and it holds them back. And you know, I've been prey to this too.
Absolutely, it's super scary. Super scary.
The first thing is you got to challenge your fear of the unknown. When we work these corporate jobs, we're just so comfortable. We don't want to admit it to ourselves, but we've kind of limited the amount of things that can change and go wrong. If you work for yourself.
Because most people, that's what they want, man. Most people, okay, so we got the Vishnu, what is it? The three gods. What are the three gods? Here, let me go look at the three gods. Here we go. All right, so we got the three main gods of Hinduism, which I love to use as an example. And one is the creator, the preserver, and the destroyer. All right? So we're creators. Like people that are interested in adventure-driven development and want to go down this path, they are creators. And there's not that many of them. Sorry. It's just the people that will deal with the risk and the fun and all and want to deal with it that way. It's very few people that want to do that, right? As most people, they got bills to pay, they got families, they got to pay for their education that they just paid $100,000 for. They got to get a good job at a good place that's going to be stable for a while. So this is mostly the preserver, right? That's the big chunk is the preserver. So there's this massive push for the preservers to try and systematize the process of adventuring, right? The process of creating a new market, a new thing, a new area. They want to systematize it so they can make it egalitarian so all preservers will be creators. It's so funny. It's so terrible. And then there's the destroyer. So the creator god, the destroyer god are the same. Well, it's all the same god, but these two, the same kind of type of person. One is trying to bring something up, but you know, when I was restoring my house, oh, my itchy nose. When I was restoring an old 1920s sharecropper house, I noticed that any act of creation was a simultaneous act of destruction. Now, as software developers, we may not see this destruction, but we're taking someone's job. That and sometimes it'll be a manual job. Sometimes it'll be some other software developer's job. Some other marketing purposes job. We're taking someone else's job. So we are destroying the thing that's already how it's being done. We're destroying as well as creating. Okay, we're doing both. And a lot of people just really aren't comfortable with that because it upsets people, right? It upsets the preservers who are the biggest chunk. They go, you can't take my market away. I had a guaranteed job. You can't lay me off. I've spent 20 years at this organization. I've spent all the time in your lava lakes and your lead mines. And I don't get any credit for that. No, you don't. Welcome to America.
You're opening yourself up to a whole new set of possibilities, and that can create anxiety for people. I've definitely experienced that.
Really?
You probably heard this. Anxiety.
That's the whole reason why so a lot of these things are wide open because the people are so risk averse, and the maintainers have been told that everything will be safe as long as you don't break any rules, right? That's the whole thing. There's rules to be kept and rules not to be broken ever. And the preservers are right there, and they don't understand that it's all that stuff is totally up for grabs. It was just someone's idea of how to do something at that time. It worked, and it worked as long as it's working. And when it doesn't work anymore, it's up for grabs. And there's a lot of software that's been written in the past few years that is all up for grabs. The way it was built is so expensive to maintain and run. You can cut costs so easily. But somebody has to think that, they're up for grabs. See, IBM thought they had it all locked down for 25, 30 years until my little company called Microsoft came along and showed them, you don't got it locked down. And if you want to keep going, you got to talk to us. And my brain was like, okay. But what about the mainframes?
Anxiety and excitement have the exact same feeling, though, in your body. If you think of the last time you got really excited about something in your life, maybe it's been a while, and then you think about a time when you felt a lot of anxiety, even though the source of that emotion was different, the way that we experience it in our body is almost the same. So,
Absolutely.
I've found that when I was working corporate jobs, I was experiencing almost no excitement in my career. And,
Of
one of the things that you can
course.
do.
Preservers do not want excitement, sir. Preservers, that's the last thing they want. That means that things could be changing, and the preserver does not want to change things. He wants to make sure his job is there next year. He's got kids and family. He's got braces, college funds, new cars, Cadillacs. What?
If you want to push yourself to get out of that fear-based mindset, is to think about what would it feel like if I started to feel more excitement again in my career? And what would it feel like if I had some adventure in my life? If I had
career. Oh, look who there it is. He's using the word. He's using the word. Look, he's using it. He knows the ultimate thing is the adventure-driven development. For people like me, for people like maybe like you, 80% of you are going to hate this crap because it's fucking, what do you mean my job's in jeopardy? It's like, yeah, your job's in jeopardy. By people like me and him, man. People that are like looking for adventure-driven development. I did not pay him to say this. I haven't even watched this before. He just brings up the word that's like, yeah, this is for people like me and him. We just can't live in these corporate. But it's just we can't deal with we'll work for 20 years, laid off. We're like, oh, then go look for another place for 20 years if we're lucky, if we can get it. And totally missing. You're totally giving the C student, B students paying their bills and paying just because you won't go out and do a sales call, because you won't learn how to do a business, open a business in the United States. It was super easy. You won't build your own website, so you're letting them go to college when your kids should be more secure. Your family should be more secure. Now, so you got to take the risk. Now, those people took risk, and it worked out for them. The thing is, the bar is so low, people have no idea how low the bar is, right? We use these products all the time. We're involved with these processes. There's inefficiencies everywhere, all over the board. And it's now become those people, that's all that technology is obsolete. All the software they wrote in the 60s and 50s to run the banking and checking, all that stuff's gone. All this stuff's obsolete. Nobody looks at it. Nobody runs it. Nobody's trying to compete with it. They're on to other stuff, right? So life moves on. We move on. Everything that was solid and secure is not solid and secure ever.
Had some fun in my life again.
Yeah, fun. What?
The longer I worked in these corporate jobs,
Fun. He said fun. Look, right here. Where is it? It's a boring job. Blah, 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 blah. Where is it? Where did I put it? Where was the first thing I said? Right here. The big idea. Make it fun to get it done. Now, I've got some ideas in this document to help you maybe how to make things more fun, which is a lot of times these managers need to be getting this stuff out of the way. Don't give me more tickets. Don't need to do burn. How about run interference? How about I don't want to go to every goddamn meeting. Unless we're getting a to-do list at the end of things that need to be done and things that need to not be done. I don't want to be at the meeting. You go to the meeting, manager. You run interference for us. That's useful. Maybe get my car washed. I go get us a snack. I don't know. Find me a date. That's a good use for a manager. See, these kinds of thoughts, right? How about we bring a massage therapist to come in and give the guys the massage as they're working on stuff? No, never heard of it? Never thought of it? Wow. These are the kinds of things that go through my brain. I don't know.
The less fun I was to be around with people, the less fun I really experienced in my life. I did a lot of things in my
this is soul crushing. Now, I have a slight theory that it's possible that the preserver class maybe doesn't have a full soul because they're not using it. They're just going along with being underneath somebody else's control. So I'm like, are you fully human, really? Because we don't live forever, right? We get out of here the same way we came in with nothing, right? You do know that, right?
Free time just to cope. I talked about how I was a marijuana addict for a long time in my career. That was sort of my way to escape from the frustration and the boredom, to be honest, of my job. But if you're ready to experience
the frustration and boredom, right? He's had to cope because he was not being compensated and not being recognized. Most of it's for dudes. It's not being recognized, right? So the frustration and boredom, right? Where is it here? Ugh, more damn bucks. Programming is a boring, tiresome, dirty job. It's frustrating. Frustrating. But I'm gonna add frustrating here. It's repetitive, dreary, and confusing. It's a tiresome, frustrating job. Frustrating. It's a frustrating job. So, and the way we record it and reward it in adventure-driven development is the experience points, and they're not supposed to be tracked to time. They may be tracked to effort, but we, instead of burning them down, we collect them. So everybody on the team, most of the people get involved get most of those experience points, and other people get less. And it's just a way to say, hey, we're working on this thing. Look at all these experience points you're racking up. We are working on this thing. Now, you can't track it. It means nothing except the people on the team who've decided what these points all mean collectively together. And we divvy them out. I mean, you can go into how I think they should be done, but you can do it a different way. This is just a suggestion. It's like you have to make this courageous effort because it's not visible to most people. They don't understand how much fucked up shit you have to deal with making this stuff work. That's other people. That's not even your fault. It's like other people's stuff that they just didn't really care that much about, right? And you're expected to figure out and deal with it because they can't be wrong, right? Yeah, that's that kind of stuff. It's like you have to make that like, yeah, I went down the freaking dungeon pit and I battled a bunch of ants. And I want to have that on a scoreboard somewhere, like on the Stack Overflow, right? It's like, I want to answer these damn questions for these people that don't know what the hell they're doing. And I try to do it as eloquently as possible. And I want to be rewarded by that, by other developers who say, yes, that helped me. That makes sense. That you pulled a load that was hard, right? That's the whole point.
You're ready to experience some fun, some adventure again. That can help prompt you to get out of this fear-based mindset and force you to try to grow and really do something beyond just working for corporate companies. And I found that when I did start working for myself, despite the ups and downs and some of it being, unfamiliar to me, I was a lot more enjoyable for my wife to be around me, for my kids to be around me, because they saw me taking risks, stepping out, doing something new, growing, being excited. It was, I went from just, dad comes home after work and he's stressed out and he, smokes a joint, not that they'd see me, or just, does whatever to check out, plays video games, to, they're seeing me reading books. They're seeing me learning how to do YouTube. They're seeing me, having to talk to people over Zoom and go out and meet people. And I think that can energize the relationships that you have when they see that you're pouring into yourself. You haven't just grown completely complacent. And the other thing that can snap you out of this fear.
This knowledge work stuff is not really for the maintainers. Sorry. This knowledge work stuff, if you're ever going to be doing software, it's going to be something different that's done before. It has to be doing it better than it was currently being done, right? So it's creative knowledge work. It's not an assembly line. It's not a lean process Scrum. We're not building Toyotas. We're building the design of the Toyota. And we can't build the Toyota Celica from 1982. We have to build a new thing. That's new. We don't know what it is. We don't know what they want. We have to figure that out. How long is it going to take? How long is it going to take for me to ask all these questions, all these people, and get them to put their money on the table? That's how long it takes. This whole, how long is it going to take? That's a management question. That's only knows how to deal with production line methods. Yes, we just printed 10,000 CDs last week. We know each one takes 1.3 seconds. So 1.3 times 10,000, and we have 6 machines. Blah, blah, blah. You can do the math. That's the thing is these managers, when they want to know the time, it's because they've been told to do the math. They've been told to do the math on your estimates, and that's totally, gotta get rid of that stuff. Right here it is, right here. I got a little quote here. Where'd I put it? I moved it around. Here it is. Agile has always been arcane, and now enantiodromia. That's an easy, fun word to say. Scrum is a minor detail at best. These meetings and the cadence of the meetings, the team should be all decide that stuff. People think Agile and Scrum together. No, they do not go together. They were just slammed together. They're pushed together. They're forced together by these Agile Scrum coach certification license. Blah, blah, ugh. No, this takes like the some of the attitude of Agile, but Agile was so soft and fairy, and like, oh, we do this, we like this. Like, no. Adventuring is like, no, we're kind of in war, man, because we're going up against preservers, man. There's a bunch of preservers, and they are not going to let go. They are not going to let go easy. And they will try to stop you, right? They're in the castle. They'll pour some oil on you. They'll throw some rocks on you as you're trying to climb up. So you got to have a way to deal with that stuff, right? These are all metaphors.
To take no action because you're just letting fear trap you is embracing risk as actually an opportunity. If you refuse to take any risks in your career, well, you can only expect to get the rewards that everybody else is getting. I would get frustrated often at my, that consulting agency I worked for a long time, because I was always trying to introduce new offerings to the company, learn new skills and try to use them to justify growing. And the company they didn't find as much value as I did. They didn't want to.
So you think that hasn't happened 10 billion times at all these companies? And these people that are the creative types who are bringing these things up are trying to go after the middle hump. They're trying to go after the people who are trying to maintain the things as they are. And they have no idea that they're actually, the process they're in was a process before that was new, that somebody didn't want. So there's a tremendous amount of opportunities all over the place for developers and visionary business people who can see this, understand it, and take like some of his ideas. He's doing his ideas, right? And that's what it takes, because you're not going to convince the maintainers. You're not going to convince those guys to, let me see if I can get that thing out again. Where is it? Anyway, you know what I'm talking about. The maintainer crowd, they don't want to hear about. No, they don't want to hear about the changes and making things better and all that stuff. That's why you have to quit or do it on the side, start your website, get your business going, blah, 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 and go, I'm going to go do this. You guys interested? And so I want to get a piece of paper saying you're not interested. I had to do that with one of my companies. It's like, I'm about to go do this thing. And like, okay, you have to like show us first. I'm like, oh, sure. But they weren't interested anyway. So I was like, okay, fine. Now I went off and did this other thing, right? They were totally not interested, and that company went defunct right as mine was taken off. So
reward me as much as I wanted that reward. The only way that I was really going to get what I thought I was worth and really be able to truly grow in my career was to just quit that consulting company and do something on my own. And it wasn't until I really quit and I started doing career coaching. And I did do some consulting part-time as well, not for the company, but solo on my own. It wasn't until I was forced to do that and I started to really lean into that I really started to make more money. I've talked about in other episodes on the channel that my first consulting project after I quit that agency that I've been at for 10 years, I charged a bill rate that was basically twice the income that I was making per year.
That's how you do it. You double your prices. That's how much you're actually worth. You double your prices.
For the agency. And if you want more freedom, you've got to act differently than other people. You got to not just phone it in. If you work your job and
the maintainer crowd, they can't deal with this. So like 80% of the people watching this, maybe you're probably pissed off at me talking about this way. That's fine. I'm trying to piss you off actually, because if you actually are one of these creator types, you have to get out of the maintainer crowd. They will poo-poo all your ideas. They say it's stupid, it's wrong, it's dumb, because they have not done all this junk down here, and they're just not the type, man. Like I said, they may not have souls.
You want everybody else to tell you what to do and arrange your schedule and set up processes for you and tell you how they expect you to work, then you can only expect you're going to feel so free in your job. If you've gotten to a point that you're like, I'm so tired of the companies I work for always controlling my ability to really feel.
Oh, they're bringing you the monsters and down in the Silver Horde where you're consulting as a mercenary or as a contractor or as a down one of these dungeon grinds here. But it's the B students and the C students are in control of your life, and you're like, I don't know, we could do this a different way, a better way, a more simple way, and they're not listening. Oh, yeah, too bad.
Feel like I'm empowered and my ability to feel like I can pursue what's right for customers, then again, if you work for a corporation, don't expect that you're going to have complete freedom. You've given up that control to the company you work for. And finally, just looking at risk as something that you can calculate is really helpful. I think risk tends to be one of those things that we say we calculate our risks, but when we work for a corporation, at least when I did, I would say, oh, I take risks. I just only take calculated risks. But really, it was just an excuse. I'd become super risk averse. I wasn't willing to do anything truly drastically different or new because I'd grown way too comfortable.
Right. If you stay in these Silver Horde down here, even though the dragon is right next door, even though the golden prize, the epic quest, what you're looking for, the golden cup, it's right there, but you're scared because you got to go back out here and go over a little bit of these hills, and it's going to take a while. You don't know how long it's going to take. You have no idea how long this is going to take. It could take years. You may never get there. Oh, I don't like that.
There's nothing wrong with deciding to take a risk when it's calculated. If you completely avoid any risk, then you are truly limiting your ability to make more money, your ability to be more free, your ability to do work that's more meaningful to you. You are the only limit over that if you force yourself to work in a way that constrains your ability to take on any risk. So have you outgrown these limits that corporations have placed on you? Are you looking for some ways to really find more meaningful work? What's holding you back? Is fear the main thing that's holding you back? Have you come up with 100 different justifications and reasons why continuing to work for companies is the best way to move forward? I'm going to make future episodes on the channel where I'm going to teach you some of the things that I had to grapple with and I learned that really helped me escape the corporate grind. But let me know in the comments, what are you facing? Why isn't this something you're entertaining? I think when you have dependents, for example, I have 3 children, you're providing for them. I was providing for my wife as well. We can often feel like I have to work a corporate job because it's the only thing that gives me consistent.
I mean, you might have to. It is actually recommended if you're going to do adventure-driven development that you go down in here for a while. See all the efficiencies, all the silliness. Maybe work on a dev engineering for a while and see the kinds of the monsters that come through the door of these other companies, B and C students they can't find the developer, so they're going to find the money to pay you. And they're like, okay, I guess I'll take my 5% less to go for this dev agency. And they don't understand, like, you're going to get cooked on that deal as well because you're not going to actually own the code, even though you think you do. Yeah, you have to go down in here to see how fucked these companies are, how crazy the technology is, and how it's been totally messed up. How these managers treat knowledge workers like they're replaceable cogs in a machine. How most people are totally clueless and just running off trends. And then having a reticular activation system saying, I want to see a problem that I can solve for people. I want to see a problem that I can solve. Show me a problem that I can solve with my skill set, even if it's 2%, 5%, just to get the ball rolling on this thing, just to get it going, because you're not going to be able to get it just out the door, quit my job, and go do this other thing. It's good. This part of the journey here has literally indeterminate amount of time, because it depends on, do you have a problem that you want to solve? Do you have the technical capabilities to do that yet? Can you do it on your own? Can you get close to where you can do it on your own? Can you limit the number of people involved so you can limit the number of freaking problems that you have to deal with, right? All that stuff comes into play. It's like, why don't you want to include everybody on your mission? It's like, because most people can't do it, man. I wish there were more people would. I'm already getting a massive, I've only put this out for like 4 days. I'm already getting pushback with you. You're crazy. This is insane. How do you show me the step by, look at my comment section. Look at this. Where's the step by step? I need to know the step by step. You're crazy. Yes, I'm a little bit crazy, but I've also been in these environments and like these people treat you terribly, and there's a way out. That's all I'm saying. All right, give me a like and subscribe, and I'll talk to you soon.